When a group of Arab extremists flew aeroplanes into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon on September 11, 2001, liberal democracies the world over, especially the United States, were faced with a new threat that would force a reassessment of fundamental values and human rights. Since September 11, other al-Qaeda-inspired attacks on mostly civilian targets in Western, Arab and Asian states have put Islam in the spotlight.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street. Okay. What's going on?
In August this year, Prime Minister John Howard convened a summit with mainstream Muslim leaders in Canberra to discuss ways to prevent terrorist attacks from occurring in Australia. The Prime Minister said that intelligence agencies would monitor activities inside Islamic schools, mosques and prayer halls to prevent anyone from proclaiming the virtues of terrorism. Among the many decisions to emerge from the meeting was the request for Muslim schools to do more to encourage children to learn so-called Australian values during their education. Soon after this meeting, Federal Education Minister Brendan Nelson attempted to define Australian values and said that anyone who didn't support them could leave the country. Mr Nelson announced a $30 million funding scheme to encourage Islamic schools in teaching Australian values. However, he also suggested that Islamic schools found to be neglecting this aspect of education might experience a reduction in government funding. Brisbane's growing Muslim community now operates 2 fully accredited schools to cater for the educational needs of Muslim young people in the region. The Brisbane Muslim School is located on the rural edge of the rapidly developing suburb of Durack in the southwestern corridor from Brisbane to Ipswich. It has a student population of 184 from preschool to Year 8 and is currently in the early stages of developing a modern campus. The school attracts students from a variety of ethnic and cultural backgrounds, with a high percentage being children of migrant families. In many respects, this school is just like any other co-educational school, with children engaging in a normal schedule of subjects offered for each grade. Both Islamic schools in Brisbane embrace a policy of employing teachers who are most suitably qualified for the job, whether they are Muslim or not. Mr Shahid Khan, the school's principal, took up his appointment early this year, just 2 years into his retirement after being Director of Business Studies at Yeronga TAFE for many years.
Very much so. We try to deliver the 100% of the syllabus which is given to us by the Islamic Studies Authority and add value to it by teaching Islamic studies for half an hour a day, and I guess we also teach a Lot language, Arabic language, which also complement our teaching, and we have I guess in the morning a short prayer in the assembly time, and during the daytime we have a midday prayer, and these days we are going through Ramadan, which means most of us fasting, and that's what is the support, environment support the fasting as well of the students. And
by Australian standards, the Brisbane Muslim School, like most if not all Islamic schools in Australia, provides its students with a highly religious atmosphere in which to learn. The teachings and values of the Muslim faith are included as part of the school life, alongside subjects covering key learning areas on typical Australian topics and values.
And you also have a sense of inculcating Australian values, whatever they happen to be.
Yes, we do. We really find that most of the Australian value is basically similar to our Islamic values. There's not hardly any difference. In fact, so much so that we believe that you can't be Muslim unless you're a good human being. And I think a lot of virtues which we see unique to Australian, like helping people at the time of disaster, we have inculcated in them. And at the time of tsunami field, we raise a lot of money for them. We also raise money for the charities. We do a number of things. In the Islamic studies, the priests also cover those issues and teach them the right Islam or moderate Islam, which is called in the community, and that what the religion teaches, our religion teaches even to care for the lands and don't destroy any other, perhaps church buildings or anything like in the case of real war too, that all religions needs to be respected. And therefore we have got a responsibility to teach our young children who could be, I guess, easily misled if they are not given the right education. So they are provided the right education.
You've indicated by saying that the school and the staff here are sensitive to debates in society, and about the place of Islam? I mean, you're aware of the debate,
Yes,
obviously.
yeah, I'm very
What's
aware
your
of
feeling
the
about it? Yeah.
Basically, we have got a lot of information from the internet and passed on to my staff that what the government wants to see happen. How does it relate to our curriculum? Our staff feel that there is no adjustment required. We already teach it, and the Australian history is taught, and Australian fauna is taught, Australian perhaps environment is taught in the subject which we call study of society and environment. We do cover all those aspects anyway.
That's SOSE.
Yes, yes, and we do cover all those aspects. But I think the staff have been made aware of it, and if anything, maybe they are giving a little bit more emphasis on those elements which are identified as Australian values. We also have some problem with some of the Australian values which we don't want to promote too much, especially cutting the tall poppy syndrome. We don't accept that is the value which we need to teach them, and I think
rather than excellence.
Excellence. If you are teaching, if you are acquiring the excellence, and therefore rather, and I guess perhaps may have changed to some extent, but near enough is good enough is also not acceptable to me to be taught in school. I think they have got to try for perfection, and I think that there is a lot of other values which are known in the community as Australian values, which we don't support too much, like betting on the Melbourne Day. We don't condone that. To me, gambling is gambling, whether it is a Melbourne Day or any other day. So there are some things which we will never support, but majority of the Australian value, we've got no problem with it. It really is in line with our curriculum and very well delivered in the classroom.
The Islamic School of Brisbane, located on the city limits between Logan City and Brisbane, is in many ways the elder brother to the Brisbane Muslim School. It has recently completed the construction of a modern campus catering for students from preschool to year 12, with a current enrolment of nearly 400. One fact that sets the Islamic School of Brisbane apart from the Brisbane Muslim School is how the former was directly impacted in the immediate aftermath of September 11. A few days after those events, a school bus was pelted with stones and bottles, causing considerable distress for the small primary school children on board, as well as the teachers and parents. The school's current principal, Dr. Mubarak Noor, says the school appreciated the support and sympathy received from the wider community following that event. Dr. Noor has been engaged in recent debates about Australian values in Muslim schools, although he was not a delegate to the Prime Minister's summit with Muslim leaders in August.
Yeah, our school programs, basically the tenets of Islam says that you have to be loyal to your country, whatever you belong to. Okay. If you're not loyal to your country, you're not a good Muslim. So if you're a Muslim, you have to be a good citizen as well. And if a need rises to protect your country, you have to give your life to protect your country. This is what Islam says.
Has the school board felt any pressure to make changes in the curriculum or some sort of, you're holding a workshop at the moment on bullying, that's a separate matter, I understand.
Yeah.
But other types of workshops on this subject of values, has the board taken any steps to address some of the concerns raised by the federal
the board
education?
members have been part and parcel of all the exchange program we already have in place.
Exchange program,
exchange program in the sense that our interaction with other state school and non-Muslim private schools. Yeah, and we have been doing everything, and we have been taking part in different social gatherings, and we have been actively contributing towards raising those values. So they are not overtly concerned about a need or any necessary reforms.
You've read through and heard some of the commentary that's been made by the Federal Education Minister, Dr. Brendan Nelson, about Australian values. What is your feeling about his intention in bringing that up in reference to Islamic schools?
Yeah, I think probably he's not aware that those values are already in place or put in practice. So I think he is just re-emphasizing on that. Yeah, that's how we take it. All those values are already in practice at our school. And in fact, I personally don't encourage that word tolerance. It should be mutual respect. Tolerance is something that you tolerate something that's you are putting up with something, which something is according to you is some negative. That shouldn't be there. It should be, instead of tolerance, you should have mutual respect, mutual understanding, mutual coexistence, mutual peaceful coexistence. These are the values that we should preach both in Islamic schools and the state schools and non-state schools. Yeah, we have had Anzac Day celebration at our school. We had veterans coming and giving us their speech. And in fact, majority of our school population is Turkish. And these Turkish students, they took part actively in this Anzac celebration. This is the spirit that we are trying to inculcate in our students.
Only a small percentage of Muslim children in Australia enjoy the privilege of attending an Islamic school where Islam is taught and upheld. Most young Muslims attend either state or independent private schools and are similarly taught from the authorised curriculum. So where do these children receive their essential Islamic education? Much of it is taught informally at home by their parents, but parents are also able to send the children to the mosque schools for formal instruction in their religion. Dr. Muhammad Abdullah is the director of the Griffith University Islam Research Unit based at Nathan Campus. Dr. Abdullah is also the acting Imam at the Karabi Mosque, located not far from the Islamic School of Brisbane. It was here that we met him to learn more about the Islamic school or madrasa that operates from the mosque.
The school or madrasa in Arabic, which is a traditional school, one may exemplify it to the Sunday school, but it is not so much as the Sunday school. It is a supplementary classes that students take after their attendance at a state school, at a high school or primary school. They come to the mosque and they take studies in the recitation of the Quran, Islam's holy book. They take studies in ethics, Islamic ethics, and perhaps sometimes Arabic and history.
In terms of the madrasa here and madrasas that operate in other countries, Islamic countries, is there any difference in principle?
In principle, no, there is no difference. I think the most distinguishing difference is the contextualization of Islamic thought and studies in countries like Australia. If you are, or students are studying in Pakistan or India or any of the majority Muslim countries, then they don't think so much of contextualization because it is part and parcel of the culture and society. But here you would find the teacher, the principal, they would try to contextualize the studies to suit the culture, to suit the values and the norms of the country in which they live in. And this is a very powerful and strong element in Islamic jurisprudence. It's called fiqh for minorities or jurisprudence for minorities, where it allows the Muslim minorities living in non-Muslim majority countries to contextualize the Islamic studies that they have.
The developments that have taken place with respect to the events of September 11 and more recently Bali, occasionally in the media the concept of a madrasa has come up, and it has been, I guess you could say, stereotyped, perhaps negatively. What could you say about the madrasa here to mitigate some of those negative images?
I think, like you have said, it is a stereotypical image of the madrasa. It is unfortunate that this is how it comes about. Yes, there would be problems in some places, in some madrasas overseas, but here I think the madrasa plays a vital role in the lives of children because it gives them spirituality. Madrasas in Australia, at least the one here, it tries to supplement the spiritual side for the children in the form of ethics, morality, conduct, how to deal with Muslims, how to deal with non-Muslims, how they should deal with their neighbors, etc. And I think that is important because it completes the other aspects of a child's personality.
Thank you very much.